Hello everyone, have a nice day. My name is Félix Ramírez and together with my companion Juan de Abreu we'll be talking about main ideas and passive voice. These are techniques that a reader could actually use to get the most important information from a paragraph. We'll get started this presentation talking about main ideas and my companion Juan de Abreu is gonna finish it talking about passive voice. So, getting started with main ideas. Main ideas are basically the primary point that the author wants to communicate, that the author wants the reader to focus on. Knowing the main idea, the reader could actually know what is all the rest of the paragraph about. So basically, the main idea gives the overarching idea of what the paragraph is all about. By knowing the main idea, we can know what is the author going to talk about. To identify a main idea is not that difficult. They are usually repeated a lot by the author. Why? Because that's what the author wants. The author wants the reader to know exactly what the main idea of a topic is. There is something very important is that when the main idea is located on the title of a paragraph or at the very beginning of the first sentence of the paragraph, is also called topic sentences. But that doesn't mean that main ideas are only located at the very beginning. No, as I said, main ideas are repeated a lot throughout the paragraph and they could also be located at the very beginning and also at the very end of a paragraph. This is the way that the author makes the reader to actually know what the main idea is. Its difference between a secondary idea is that secondary ideas does not repeat a lot as the main idea does. So let's get started with examples. For example, if we are going to talk about World War I, what's the most specific way to do it? Just, well, getting started why World War I started. So the main idea of a paragraph about World War I could be something like constant competition for massive empires led to increasing tensions in Europe that eventually erupted into World War I. Here we are located the main idea at the very beginning, right? We are talking about World War I. We are talking about why did this conflict started. We are not disguising our information to another topic. No, we are going straight for the main point. World War I. Why did World War I started? That's the main idea of the paragraph. Now, there could be also secondary ideas that might explore more specific details about World War I, like what countries participated during World War I, what battles, and stuff like that. But the main idea is going to introduce the reader to the main topic, and that is talking about World War I in this case. Now, as I said, we got also secondary ideas. They are also called supporting sentences. Supporting sentences are basically a way to improve and to give a little more information about a paragraph, about the main idea. So with the supporting sentences, we could try to get more specific details about the main idea. That's the reason to exist of the secondary ideas. That's their objective, to give the reader more details about the main idea. It's basically, as their name suggests, the secondary idea supports the main idea. Here we got an example of a main idea marked within red and a secondary idea marked with yellow. For example, here we get started with I really like apples. That's the main idea. This is the topic sentence. We start right away saying that I like apples. That's the main idea of the sentence. Now we go with the secondary idea. What is the secondary idea? Well, why I like apples. I give more information of why I like apples. And I say, well, I like apples because they are sweet, crisp, and juicy. That's a secondary idea. I am supporting the main idea, giving more specific details about why I like apples. Now, for another example, if we go and start talking about, engines, turbo engines, we'll get started a paragraph talking about what a turbo engine is, and then we use secondary ideas just to, well, complement information, saying what kind of fuel does the turbo engine use, what are they useful for, and stuff like that. We are completing and giving more details about the turbo engines, but the main idea is still being talking about turbo engines. The secondary idea are only used to complement the information. So basically, to summarize everything, we got the parts of a paragraph. The topic sentence of the main idea, as I said, is the primary point that the author wants the reader to focus on. Then we got the supporting sentences that are basically a way that the author could actually give more specific information, more details about the main idea. And then we got the concluding sentence. Concluding sentences could be the main idea, as I said. Remember that we could also locate the main idea at the very beginning or at the very end. Concluding sentences are also used to, well, summarize all of the information that is treated throughout a paragraph.
Hello, I'm Juan de Abreu, and in this opportunity I'm going to talk about passive voice. Passive voice is another way to express sentences when we didn't know the person or thing that did the action. Also, it's used when it's not important to mention or when we didn't want to express or mention the person who did the action. It's really used, the passive voice, when we want to give more importance to the action and the object of that action and not to the person who did the action. Also, we can use passive voice to make our text or paragraph more formal. But if we use active voice, our text or paragraph will be easier to understand. It's important to say that the reporters who work in the television, for example, or in the newspaper, they usually use the passive voice to express or to write the news because they didn't know the person. It's common that they didn't know the person who did the action, and that's why they use the passive voice in the news. Okay, let's see examples. Here we have the examples in passive voice. As I said at the beginning, passive voice gives more importance to the action and not to the person who did the action. We can see that in these examples. My brother cleaned the house. That is the active sentence, and we can see that in the active sentence the emphasis is on the subject, but in the passive voice, the house was cleaned, the emphasis is on the action. How can we convert an active sentence into a passive? Well, we have to do the following steps. First of all, the object of the active sentence, in this case, the house, is going to be the subject of the passive sentence, the house. The second step is the main verb is going to be replaced by the auxiliary to be and at the same time together with the main verb in participle. We can see that in this example, John broke a window. A window was broken. And the third and finally step, we can include and mention the person who did the action, preceded by the preposition by. For example, a window was broken by John. Well, this is the end of our presentation. I hope you like, teacher. Thank you and goodbye.